Speedsters, welcome to a brand new Flash video. Today we are talking about, can you guess it? The Flash. No, really guys, today I don't know how long this video is going to be. It's probably not going to be a very long one. I just thought, hey, there's not a bunch of Flash content and there's not going to be for quite some time, so I wanted to give my thoughts on what Eric Wallace has recently teased in relation to Godspeed. Now this will kind of mix in with a whole bunch of speculation, so as always I would love for you guys to get involved down in the comments below, just because, you know, with the early ending of season 6 and how that impacted the original cliffhanger with the Reverse Flash and what that could have meant for the next season. It was apparently meant to be a big Thorn cliffhanger, and now with the relatively not mega new Godspeed info, but it's just stuff Godspeed Eric Wallace has talked about recently, fairly well, not mega recently, but I just wanted to get into it and how that could impact season 7, and with the new formulaic way that Eric Wallace decides to go about even doing this show, which has been really successful for it thus far in my opinion, and that is the graphic novel A approach and graphic novel B approach. So, you know, both halves of the season split into two. I have many theories in terms of Godspeed and how it relates to that, but let's get into this video. So if you're going to enjoy this, I'd really appreciate a like. It really does help me out. I have no idea if the camera quality is blurry. I have no idea if this mic setup is different audio sounding because I'm standing now, because I have a desk that literally goes down like this and then up like this. So first of all, before we get into the speculation of the future and how I think that this could tie into the Flash Season 7 and onwards and a whole bunch of other things, let's talk about Godspeed's past. Let's reflect upon it. And yeah, it hasn't been the greatest thing in the world. Godspeed he arrived in Season 5, Episode 18, and that was, of course, the future episode. And, you know, one thing I think we can all agree on is that his suit is mwah, it's great. And, you know, unfortunately, that's kind of where it ended. I mean, sure, that Nora episode in the future, there was cool kind of running, you know, speedster stuff there. We all kind of get a kick out of that. But other than that, you know, there wasn't really too much to applaud. And, you know, we have to take into account as well that that was the real August Hart in the future, if that makes sense. However, I do not think that that guy, no disrespect to that guy or anything, I just got a feeling that he won't be returning, given the fact that Eric Wallace seems to be teasing some capitalization on this character for once and for all, the actual OG Godspeed in the future. So I think there will be a recasting, and you could just put that down to Crisis on Infinite Earths or just a whole bunch of other things. So, you know, that was more or less that for that episode. He fell on a car or something, or on a sign, I can't even remember. Then flash forward to season 6, episode 1, we had Barry chasing Godspeeds all over the summer. Apparently he had been locking them in the pipeline, and they've just been making those inaudible screeches. I remember at the time as well, everyone was thinking, including myself, I actually bought into this a little bit, what if it's kind of some weird Crisis testy kind of thing where, I don't know, people were bringing in the whole shadow demon theories into it, and but as much as we were reading into that, it really didn't make sense if you look back on it, like these Godspeeds being like a pre-Crisis harbinger, if you will. I don't know, but hey, it didn't really make any sense, and we were looking forward to see where that was going, and lo and behold, it did pick up again. I believe, was it episode 18 of season 6, Godspeed returned. We thought that this could be the one and only OG Godspeed, a post-Crisis world. This one spoke, so why wouldn't it be the real deal? But it turned out he as well wasn't the actual Godspeed, but at least this episode was much better than the Nora Allen future episode, and it just kind of set up an interesting storyline for the future, because I believe he said, the one who sent me wants infinite velocity, and that's just kind of like oh, who sent him? Does this pertain to the next season's villain? Is that the OG Godspeed, or could it be somebody else completely different? It probably is the OG Godspeed, but it is interesting how he's sending these little clone copies of himself, and it's like, how does he even have the means to do that? Is this original August Hart, if it is him, like insanely intelligent to the point where he can literally create, think about it, he's created Godspeeds with actual temporary speed to do what he did in that episode not that long ago. So that, if you take back a second and look at what he's done and what he's achieving, it's pretty interesting. So you have to think, when this real Godspeed comes about, shite's going to get very real, because he must be very formidable, considering this Godspeed clone, yet again, even though he spoke in the episode, he created that weird ass massive lightning storm, which was pretty impressive. So I'm still looking forward to the future. But anyway, let's cut to the main point. I've dragged this out till here in this recap. I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd be going on this long. So TV Line actually asked Eric Wallace, will Team Flash finally go up against the honest to goodness, one and true Godspeed? And he said in response, yes, you just might, because that's where we're going. And that is really all, to be honest, this video is based off. So, and to be honest, that kind of goes without saying. With the way it ended off, it's not like we weren't going to get a continuation to the Godspeed story. But now we, definitely know we're getting a Godspeed story. I have so many questions. I'm sure you have so many questions, and this is where I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. Because, we got the fact out the way. Eric Wallace says, yes, you just might, because that's where we're going. He's just, being a bit teasy there. But, we are getting Godspeed, obviously. But does this mean he's going to be the next big villain of Season 7? But if that's the case, then does that mean he pertains to the Season 7 synopsis? If you guys remember in how that said, which I actually can't remember, I need to find the exact quote. Okay, so yeah, cut to the chase. But in doing so, he will unleash an even more powerful and devastating threat on Central City, one that threatens to tear his team and his marriage apart. So does Godspeed really fit into that? The big thing that a lot of us were dissecting about this Season 7 synopsis is that they definitely separated the part and his marriage apart, which is why everybody, and why I made that Cobalt Blue video, is wondering about Cobalt Blue. Even though that's probably and maybe not the case, the fact that this person, whoever Barry releases, threatens to tear his team and his marriage apart, is just very interesting language, and you would have to think somebody more personal to them, and maybe it's some weird, warped-minded Eddie. But, you still have to, the reason why I'm mentioning this synopsis is because you have to think, if Eric Wallace is bringing him back, which, as I said, we all knew was happening anyway, but could he still be the Part A villain of the graphic novel 2-split season, if that makes sense? Like how we had Bloodwork in the Flash Season 6, and now we had Ava McCulloch in the back half. Could we potentially, after the Ava McCulloch thing is wrapped up in just a few episodes, maybe 3, we go straight into the Godspeed? Like the Godspeed, the real one, August Hart comes back, recasted, maybe still voiced by BD Wong in a similar way to how we had Teddy Sears, but then we had, I can't remember the freaking voice actor, but somebody else voiced the actual Insidious-esque Zoom voice. That was amazing. But the reason why I don't necessarily think it is Godspeed as the next big villain, as some of you may be suggesting in the comments right now, you might be thinking he's going to be the next Bloodwork or Ava McCulloch, is because Eric Wallace said in another quote, which I'm, starting halfway through, which is the end of Ava's story and the beginning of the next villain story, and how he relates to Barry and Iris. Yet again, this next villain, whoever it is 100% a he, but, does Godspeed really relate to Barry and Iris? Which is why I put more of my eggs in the basket of somebody actually personal to them to some degree, even if it's not Eddie Thawne, but more in that direction. I don't see how Godspeed's going to be like that unless Eric Wallace and the writers' room have somehow made the new original August Hart, who, not the clones, but somehow they're going to do some shocking reveal where it's really Eddie. That would be so weird, but you know what I mean. So I think we could be looking at a couple of episodes special. I'm just really hoping, no matter what, it's not another one episode thing. I think at the very least, if this isn't going to be a Season 7 villain in terms of Part A or Part B in comparison to Bloodwork or Ava, you need to give Godspeed a bit more respect. They've done that this season. That was quite a cool episode with the talking clone. But next season, you need to do like a Grodd 2-part episode-esque thing that we've had in the past. I think that could be really cool. If you're going to bring in a speedster, do it well. But at the same time, whilst I think about it more and more, I feel like if we're going to have this story that's been set up the way it has been, with the one who sent us wants infinite velocity, and it's been going on for quite some time, really at the beginning of Season 6, if you think about it, it would be kind of a shame not to actually dedicate the 8 episodes, similar to how Bloodwork was, to this villain, because I really do feel that they've teased and fleshed out enough of an interesting and enticing story that we all want to know more. Who is this person who wants more infinite velocity? That sounds quite cool to me. But then again, I keep going back, my head's going crazy because like Grant Gustin teased that we were supposed to get a big Thorn cliffhanger at the end of season 6. So how does that tie into all of this? If we've got a villain who is a he, and as Eric Wallace describes it, connects and how he relates to Barry and Iris, so quite a personal villain. The actual season 7 synopsis itself says wants to tear Team Flash apart and Barry and Iris's marriage. That doesn't seem like August Heart to me. So I'm now starting to think, is that whole Reverse Flash cliffhanger just meant to tease that Reverse Flash's energy little Voldemort Horcrux thing was floating around, and maybe he was going to inhabit someone like Godspeed and fuse with him to become Red Death like so many people were thinking, or maybe that was Bloodwork, because Eric Wallace has also teased that Bloodwork is playing a longer game, and, you know, maybe this will be the CW's very new canonical, it won't be traditionalist at all, since Red Death was not Bloodwork and Reverse Flash energy, but you know what I mean. It could be a way to explain it. Bloodwork, Red Death, Speedster infused Thorn Bloodwork, that kind of makes sense, but I think that's got to be separate from Godspeed. That's how this all relates, and why I'm bringing this up is because I think Godspeed's going to be a completely self-contained story from the Reverse Flash. But hey, let's throw it on the table. Maybe the big Thorn cliffhanger was meant to, I don't know, somehow involve corrupting Godspeed. But I think this is going way too far down the rabbit hole now. I don't know what they're doing. This is why I wanted to talk about it with you guys. Now, my original thinking is that they could have done something interesting with the Blackhole, a whole criminal organization there, and that maybe they were going to reveal that Godspeed, these clones, were created by Blackhole, trying to, take Barry's speed, or make this artificial or just Speed Force weaponry, and they maybe try to simulate a speedster through something like velocity, and the one who sent them wants infinite velocity. But I don't know if they're going that route anymore. I feel like Joseph Carver would have, with his assassins like Ultraviolet and the Sunshine Lady and whoever else there was, I feel like it would have been revealed already if Godspeed was, literally related to Blackhole. So I don't know if they're going to go down that line. But honestly, guys, this is just meant to be a discussion video. So I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Because we have to remember, Grant Gustin said there was meant to be a big Thorn cliffhanger at the end of season 6. We haven't got that. Are we still getting that towards the end of the Ava arc in the first few episodes of season 7? Are we still going to get that Thorn cliffhanger? And if so, will the Thorn cliffhanger imply some kind of combination and infused Godspeed-esque iteration of a Red Death? Or is the Thorn cliffhanger going to be completely a separated storyline that is put on the back burner for a much future storyline? So maybe we just see Thorn inhabit Bloodwork, but then they're doing something cooking in the background over the next several episodes. So then for the immediate present storyline after Ava McCulloch, we just have the infinite velocity, fascinated, obsessed Godspeed, August Heart. And then in the back half, maybe we go to the Reverse Flash stuff with whatever the heck that was. Or are we getting Cobalt Blue? I don't know. Baby Yoda, do you know? Tell them. Do you know anything? I'm sorry, Baby Yoda. I won't do that ever again to you. So let me know if you have any suggestions on what you want to hear from me about The Flash, whether that is a video about this, that, or the other, some future storylines, or where I want things to go, or ranked videos. I do not know. But if you want to talk to me more personally, everyone, you can join my Discord, you can follow me on Twitter. Links to all of that good stuff is in the description down below. I am in voice chat quite a bit on my Discord server, but also I do have a Patreon page where you can help support the channel, and it helps me just bring these videos to you and dedicate more time to it. But I think that's everything. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. Goodbye. Say goodbye, Baby Yoda.